Greetings, my magnificent ones. Sue Paulson, your magnificence mentor from the Magnificence Lab. It's January 2026, the dawn of a new year. I'm excited about this year because a lot of the forecasts I hear from the spiritual conduits that I listen to indicates that it's more shifting and changing, but with any focus and perseverance at all, it'll be easier for a lot of us than 2025 was. So I've done a little remembering and musing about 2025. And even though it was a pretty good year for me, it had its ups and downs. And for lots of people, it was this huge roller coaster that just wouldn't quit, like you couldn't get off. And you didn't want to ride again and again and again. So we're done that now and into 2026. It's an odd time of year in the sense that there's this rising desire to get right out there and do better and do more. And so New Year's resolutions came along as part of that whole process to, all right, what are your resolutions for the new year? And we would set all kinds of firm and sometimes too far-reaching goals. Oh, I'm going to lose 40 pounds. Oh, I'm going to um, write that book I've always been wanting to write. I'm going to, and on and on and on, or I'm going to go to the gym 4 times a week. And so we set this up and we get all motivated, maybe because we're just fed up with the slugginess of too much uh, holiday cheer and an abundance of food that we don't normally eat and a lack of activity and all of that sort of thing. And so we're wanting to build up our energy to pull ourselves out of that miasma, I guess. Well, the other part that's odd though in January is at least here in the Northern Hemisphere, it's a time of hibernation where most of the living things have gone dormant. The trees, the grass, the um, birds have flown south for the winter, and bears are hibernating, and so it's a very sleepy molasses in January, slow kind of time. So what are we to do with this? Because I, for one, don't have that fire in my belly that comes along when spring starts to burgeon. So I don't feel like just getting out there and giving it all I've got and so on. I feel more contemplative, more inward. And of course, if we think about the natural growing cycle, ideas grow in the dark and new wonderings, new imaginings, our whole creative process starts in the dark. And when we provide a little bit of light and a little bit of nurturing and a little bit of focus, then gradually that little idea might take root and then start to sprout. And of course, it's moving through the darkness out into full light. But as you know, if you think back to some of your ideas, I know some of mine, they they got kind of half baked, and when they saw the full light of day, they just wilted. And so there was nothing, there was no traction there. There was no root system that would support it in a solid way. So January, I find, is a time for us to go more back into our roots and say, all right, what is at the heart of me? And of course, when we talk about magnificence, well, where does our magnificence reside? Well, it resides in the heart. So I want to make 2026 and all of the videos that I do to focus on the year of the heart, because that's where our intelligence lies. That's where all our vast connection to source, to spirit is. And that's the essence of us. So whether we remember that or not, whether we know that or not, I've come to understand that is the truth of the matter, is that all our love resides right within our heart, and that's where the best of who we are comes from. So if we think about that for a moment and say, all right, if I want to build something new and I go to the heart of it, then when we go to the heart of it, questions such as, in a big way, well, what was I created to be? If I'm the a shiny facet of the universal diamond, and I have my own specific light that's meant to shine forth, how does that look? Like, what exactly does that turn into? In addition to light, because of course we're here in human form, and so we have ways of physically creating that effect in our own unique way, through our talents, through our skill levels, through our experiences, through deciding, in contrast, yes, this, not that, yes, this, not that. And as we go through life, this builds. And so it's to go to the heart of it and say, well, why do I think I was created in the first place? And if I don't have an answer to that, then maybe the question is, well, I think there's things that are dormant in there. What do I need to do to awaken to that, at least as a starting point? What do I want to evolve, to happen, to grow, and so on? Well, then to me, the another naturally occurring question is, what are my heart's desires? What do I really desire deep down in my heart? And if love is at the essence of that, then it's that, well, I believe I'm connected to source, but maybe I don't feel it as strongly as I would like to. I turn to source in moments of panic or desperation, or, fall down to my knees and say, please, 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 could I have things differently? Because it really sucks right now. Well, I've done that lots and for many years. But is it a plea that we want, or is it more, show me what more I can be? Show me where I go now for my highest growth. Like, what's in my heart that needs pulling out and revealing, like the best gift that you could dig down and find, and then you unwrap it and say, oh, that's what, wow, ooh, that would be cool, that would be fun. And of course, in our humanness, ooh, that's kind of scary. Ooh, that would throw me out of my comfort zone. Well, of course, we get used to where we've been, and we've traveled certain roads because they're familiar to us and it's comfortable. Well, of course, in looking at what's happening for 2026, I know I want more of what is me in 2026, and less of what I that doesn't serve me, less of what does not serve me. So if I'm going to go for more that's really good for me, that probably means I'm going to be pushing or dragging myself out of my comfort zone from time to time to be able to make that happen, to be able to have that. Now, so I want to talk about commitment for a second, because commitment happens on from two different perspectives. First of all, there's a commitment, which is part of a willingness to be open to allowing something different to come through, allowing a change in some way. It can happen very gently. It can happen when you're not even really thinking about it, but there's this feeling, this sense in the heart of, oh, I would just love it if. And when we say, yeah, that's important to me. I want to commit myself to that. I don't know what it looks like yet. And often that's the thing that can easily die is if we find it so nebulous or so hard to grab onto, it doesn't feel tangible enough, then it can just split into the mind, up from the heart into the mind and then out again almost as quickly. So it takes some sitting with, and there's this contemplative time that January often is to say, let's just slow down. And there's nothing I need to do in this moment except allow thoughts to come, allow remembrances to come, allow any signals, words, information from source that will help me see where I'm going from here. And out of that willingness, that commitment to allow a different sense, a different something, can come the desires. Okay, well, what do I really desire in all of this? Now, let's face it, nothing happens without desire. You won't even get out of bed in the morning if you don't desire to. And I went back to sleep this morning and I slept some more because I didn't desire to get out of bed at that particular time when I first woke up. But I did desire to do some reading. So I read for a little while until I was sleepy enough to go back to sleep. So until I desired to get out of bed, I didn't. I think my bladder was a little nudge in there too, but aside from that, so if we think about, well, nothing's going to happen without desire, then what is our heart's desire? Not what somebody else said we should do, not, oh, well, I've failed miserably at this, and this, and so now I want to do this, and this. It isn't about that. It's about looking inward and saying, what's really important to me? If I have a purpose here on earth, then how do I manifest that a little bit more? What is it that is important to me in that, in the way it happens, in how soon it happens, in all of those kinds of things? Those details you'll work out at some point, but initially it's to look at, well, what is my heart's desire? So for 2026, what is your heart's desire? What feels right? What would bring you that sense of joy, that sense of peace, that happiness, that excitement, that joie de vivre, which is so important in our lives to feel alive. So what is that? Well, once we have glimmerings of that, then it's time to look to our intention. And this is where action comes in. So different from resolutions. So a resolution is typically a hard-edged, defined something like a goal. Okay, I'm going to earn $100,000 this year. So it's a very well-established, structured, this is what's going to happen right now. I'm going to exercise 4 times a week. And there's no ands, ifs, or buts about it. There's no room for flexibility. It's just there. Now, in contrast, an intention is a fuzzier version of a resolution. All my resolutions had to turn into revolutions in order to really sink my teeth into it, and I still wasn't that successful. But an intention is a pathway. It is a possibility that allows for detours and new things coming in that you didn't know about at the beginning. It just allows for a much more creative flow into something that feels easier. Plus, there's more of a suspension of judgment if things don't go exactly according to plan, because the plan wasn't that solid. It was fluid. It allowed for course correction. It allowed for anything that came in, new information and new possibilities that didn't surface right away. Well, then, of course, once you have your intentions, then commitment comes back in. And in this case, rather than commitment to open up to, it's commitment to do. So what is it that I'm actively going to do to move into this new arena, this new intention that I have? So when I looked, for example, at my intention for 2026, there were three words that came to me. One of them was freedom, one of them was love, and one of them was power. So my intention then, to give you a small subset of each of those. So my intention for freedom is to feel more free to do what's in my heart to do, to not be so bound by what others tell me I should be doing, the structuredness of our society of well, you can't do that, you need to do it this way, and forget about that, you want to blah blah blah. And I thought, no, I want more freedom than that. And in addition to that, I want more freedom from what has been holding me back. So freedom from all of the fears that rise up when I contemplate doing something out of my comfort zone. So I want some freedom from that. Well, one of the ways that I find I can get some freedom from that is allowing whatever fears surface and then doing what I'm committed to doing anyway. So feel the fear, do it anyway. Well, there's a freedom in that that can come. So in all facets of my life, I'm looking for more of a sense of freedom. And of course, it's not freedom necessarily that anybody else gives me. It's me giving myself the freedom by letting go of the bits that don't serve me, the fears that hold me back, the worries that keep me up at night, the anxiety in, oh, I don't know what people will think if I do this or say this or go in this direction or don't go in that direction, all that stuff that we've lived with for, well, in my case, all my life and far too long. And so I want to be able to release that, have it transform into more of the energy that I want for my sense of freedom. So that would be one of the examples of what my intention is for 2026. Now you can see it doesn't have a big structure around it. It seems a little bit loosey goosey. My dad would say, "Whoa, how are you going to make money like that?" Well, I don't know, Dad, but I'm going to be open to possibilities that I haven't come across yet. So that was part of it. When I think about the love, well, of course, um, there's lots of songs about love, and I think of some of the lines. Well, what's love got to do with it? Well, love has everything to do with it. It is not just a secondhand emotion. It is the essence of who and what we are. It's why we're here. and we were born out of love, and we have all the love we could ever imagine accessing if we just pay attention to it and if we allow it in. So, but fear is that other side, that opposite of love, that wants to come in and just, no, you can't have that, and want to take it away from us. And if we allow it, well, who's in charge? We are. We're in charge of that. We're in charge of those thoughts that come racing in, and we can replace them. It will take some work to do that. So my diligence meter is going to be higher for 2026. I'm going to notice when fear either jumps in or trickles in or sneaks in to want to sabotage my efforts and pull me back and say, oh no, it won't be safe if you do. You got to be scared of that. And so in being more diligent, then I want to be able then to do something about that and say, no, no, it's okay. We're good. We're good. And just soothe that fear and allow it to just dissipate like clouds. So love has a big, big role in all of this. And the third thing that I want to focus on for 2026 is my own sense of my personal power. Can I ramp it up a notch? Am I willing to do what's necessary to show up more often, more vulnerable, with more of my truth in a way that is loving and kind to myself, in a way that nurtures my ability to live my purpose and be more of who I really am? That's a big deal. And it comes, and again, of course, fear will want to um, slip in and say, oh, Sue, just stay in your little comfort zone, in your little neck of the woods, and you don't have to do all of that. No, I don't need to do any of it. Actually, I could follow that voice, as I have for many years, and just stay right here in my little comfortable rut. I could, except what do I lose if I stay there? I lose the joy and the excitement in doing something that's out of my comfort zone. So I don't want that. I want more. And I know I'm fully capable of creating that because the big source within me, it's just this endless pool, and it's there for the taking. But I need to commit. I need to say, okay. So that's kind of the process that I've been meandering through as I contemplate. And in my when the full moon comes, I'm often up at 3 in the morning. So I get out my paper and pen and I write, and I connect. Writing is the way I connect with my higher source. I just uh, envision this council of light that's there for me, to support me, to coach me, to coax me, to uplift me. And we have a dialogue back and forth on paper, so like a movie script where I say something and then they say something. Well, it's been a huge source of comfort for me to be able to tap into that and allow new ideas from that pool that I didn't know how to access for a long, long time, and pull that up so that I can hear it and see it, and there it is on paper for me. Whew, well, we seem to have covered quite a lot today in getting started. So as we go into the year of the heart, let's explore some of these areas more fully. If in fact you have this desire to tap into your own magnificence more and more, or you sense that there might be more to you than what everybody else tells you that there is, then come with me. Join me on this journey over this next year as we go week by week to explore different thoughts and ideas. My goal is to be a trigger, to be a conduit for information. I'm getting some of it's my own personal experience, some of it's what I have learned from what I've done or not done. And a lot of it is just ideas that tend to be pretty universal. I just haven't played with them before. So out they come in different ways. So if you're enjoying this channel, then please subscribe and you'll get notices about upcoming videos. And in the meantime, think about how are you going to approach 2026? What is this year going to mean to you? There is a tremendous amount of chaos in the world. Let's face it, it's out there and it's shifting and changing in a dramatic way that is not terribly comfortable for most of us. That's okay. It doesn't need to be that chaotic in your own heart space, in your own mind, because you get to choose how you're going to respond and where you want to go, because you're not required to live in this craziness that seems to be out there. That's not, you can choose to say, well, that's what the world is doing. That's not what I'm doing in my world. I live in a different world than that. And I will stay strong in my grounding and in my connection. So that's my plan for 2026. Think about what yours is, and we will look forward to chatting more next week. Take good care, my magnificent ones.